you're talking about questing efficiently, what does that mean? I know that you're very busy, right? You're a doctor, and that means that you have to work a lot of hours.
That's why I kind of like to make as much progress as possible, as compressed, basically, like do as much as I can in the least amount of time I can give it.
Because you cannot play all day like some guys out there.
Sometimes I can, sometimes I cannot. It really depends on my working schedule because it's not like fixed. What I like to do is when the wipe happens, like first day, I try to play, but not as much since like playing on a wipe day is kind of servers are on fire, everyone is trying to get in, like it's basically community DDoSing. So what I do is I just mainly get my items examined, like get them all examined. That gets me to level 2. Then I either restart a game, or if I deem it that it's like not really safe to restart because I might not be able to get back on, I just queue up a match, and once the thing says matching, then I immediately back out. That allows me to restart reset the quests, like the new quests are being given to you then.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows me to see new task from Mechanic, which is Gunsmith Part 1, and once you pick that up, you get the introduction for Jaeger, and I usually start my wipe with the Woods raid, and since Woods is one of my most comfortable maps, I just go pick up the Jaeger's letter and already look for the other items for the quests.
Do you find at that point that you're ahead of most people and the Woods map isn't too busy?
Since like what I do is like I always, especially early levels, when you're like leveling, getting your first quests, it's very important if you are able to try to headshot scavs, because each headshot gives you like 100 or 120, I don't remember off the top of my head, extra XP. So if you get like 10 scavs, that's like 1000 XP, which means like on those early levels, this 1000 XP actually matters a lot. So you do that, you loot the quest items for both your hideout and your quests, and because of it, like you get those quests done early. It allows you to basically push ahead and do quests which other people are technically not on yet. So if you are the first to be there, you have less competition. Like if you get the ball rolling, you can really...
Right, you're gonna have a lot less traffic in those areas.
Yeah,
so
you're gonna
have
have
to
a
go
lot
to
less
dorms or
traffic, and also you will unlock the better gear from traders because you're gonna have your levels, you're gonna have your loyalty levels, you're gonna have your ammunition, gear. Like I like to do it fast so I can start amassing the ammunition, like the good ammunition. Like I don't use it right away. Sometimes I use some like mid-tier ammunition. Like I try to get, for example, the M856A1. It's decent round, especially this wipe, since the availability of the good ammos like class 5 is not as common as it used to be. Regardless, like let's go back to the this early stuff. Like there's plenty of guides already online that like tell you the woods early, and it's a great map for early game, like progression. Like first of all, hideout stuff. Second of all, like you get the Jaeger, and once you get the Jaeger, you immediately want to buy 3 MP133 shotguns just to not be bothered about them later on, because you give to proper immediately so they don't take up your space. And you keep one, so you have one good durability one for Gunsmith. Then you also want to buy the plastic grip for this shotgun from Jaeger, because I don't know if that was an issue to buy it this wipe, but I remember wipes where this plastic pistol grip was really annoying to get, so like finish the shotgun. The only thing you need to be really look out for is the choke for the shotgun, but the scavs are having it quite frequently, so if you find one, like
yeah, it's pretty common.
Put it in a container,
yeah,
you're good to go. So
do you find at that point, like that early, the shotguns are still available, they're not all sold out by Jaeger?
I mean, depends how quick you do it and how many people manage to get on while the servers are being completely... Yeah, the servers are gone first day. Like, first, second day, it's like really rough to get on. Other than that, like after that, these shotguns are sold out constantly. There's like, you really need to camp reset, and even if you camp, you might miss it. Other than that, I look for the, like I mentioned, quest items immediately. Like, for example... Good example of that such quest would be the Blood of War from Ragman, or the Fuel Conditioners. Technically it's a good item to sell early because you need money, like it's deflation, no one has money, like you kind of want that those rubles. I like to keep them, like I just check there's like great resource, at least on wiki, like you have the pictures of all the items for all the quests in the game you need. Like I just try to use it, or like this tracker.io.
Tarkov tracker.io.
Those are great resources to like just use and like see what you are missing. Like you can mark it if you have them or not. Storage of those items can be an issue too. So I understand like holding items for quests might not be feasible, especially for standard account players. That's why you kind of want to get your money first, like get your junk boxes, then gather the items for the quests. So they become like, if it's like, oh, found in raid this, like they're like, okay, here, next.
You've got everything, yeah.
Yeah, you got everything. If you are prepared, it's such a great feeling. For the great example of this is when you finish the what was the therapist task? Like you get the saluas, then you get like the scav kills and so on, and then you have this found in raid gas analyzers. Like you have the first gas analyzer, then 2 gas analyzers, and then you have 4 more fiends. Like it's like back to back. Like if you have all this, like it's 3 quests back to back, and you just breeze through it. It's like.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best feelings in the game when you can complete several quests in a row. Just complete, like, and the sound effects that gives you on completion. I think that's a great feeling.
It's like a great feeling, especially if the task was like sort of difficult. Like the more difficult and annoying task it was, more gratitude you actually feel once you hear that like ready to complete, like ready to turn in, or like accept as complete in case of like task like shoot a bone in heaven.
Yep, I think my personal best has been 7 quests on streets in 1 raid. That was quite satisfying.
I don't remember what was my record. I think either 7 or 8 in 1 run of Shoreline. That brings me to another topic. Like people are like complaining about Shoreline tasks. I kind of get them. I'm not a fan of like spamming Shoreline over and over for progression. It's daunting. But if you stack those quests properly and you like look at the other traders, what they have, you can really make it like into nice route. For example, what I like to combine is usually try to push Prapor's quest line so I get to the Punisher, so like it involves scav killing, and it can align really nicely with like Peacekeeper tasks to like do it with like this blueberry armor, this UN armor. So you can run around with your AKM and still progress like 2 quests at the same time. Since people will be out there for scavs, since you are stacking 2 quests, like each kill counts as double technically, so you are competing with people for a shorter period of time. Also, another thing, I actually, like before we talked about it, like for this video and so on, I didn't think of it, but a lot of people like to play in groups, and once the entire squad hits the Punisher, like to skill scavs, I think like people don't like to do it, but I would actually recommend people to split up. Like don't go together in a raid because you're actually competing for your own progression.
Yeah, I understand why people
whenever I have a scav killing quest, I prefer to go solo.
Yeah,
like,
it makes more sense. I understand like it's fun to play as a squad, but
experience too. You just going out there hunting AI. It's like if you die, like depends what gear you have to run. Like, but overall, like you die, okay, take an L. Equip again gear, go next.
Yeah, it's definitely more efficient to go solo for the scav killing quest anyway.
Scav killing quests. Survival wise, if I have to do a task that requires me to survive, I either do it solo or preferably duo. Like someone who can watch my back, like extra set of eyes is also nice, and duo is not, you're not exposing yourself as much as you're like running 3-man, 4-man, or God forbid 5-man. Like if you are able to run 5-man, good on you. Like the comms, the communication skills required for running 5-man consistently and in a proper manner is something else. Like I had one group that I was able to run it, but it's hard.
Very hard. Yeah, team kills happen, miscommunication, confusion.
Miscommunication, confusion, exactly. And like people don't underestimate how much you can actually do as a solo in the regards of like causing chaos and like making opponent guessing.
Yeah.
Like audio isn't perfect. Like try to make callouts as messy as possible, and then you will win more fights.
Yeah,
also,
because if you're going in solo, you don't have to worry about who's who, right? You can just kill whoever
exactly.
you see.
You just kill on sight.
Yeah.
You don't care. You don't need to hesitate. You have the advantage of like you can pull the trigger immediately, and they have like, is that you? Or like unless the comms are on point, and then like
In my opinion, the only real solution to the confusion of running squads, I think, is to be in visual proximity of each other. So if you know where anyone is, to some degree, you know. Like,
I get your point. Like, yeah, having a visual is nice, but depends where you are. If we talk about, like, for example, Shoreline Resort, yeah, good luck with that.
No, for sure. If you're in close quarters, it's a lot harder. But like let's say you're in the open, yeah.
But for example, like I know more or less like how people like to play squads, and for example, me and my buddies, I have completely different approach. Like we actually almost like spread out and basically divide and conquer entire map.
You can get picked off one by one.
We
also.
can get picked one off. Yes, true. If we die, but like
you can't trade.
Pros and cons. Like yeah. But then they can cover up the body like you looked basically then like a solo, so they don't know there is one more.
Pros and cons.
I kind of agree about like sticking together to some point, especially bigger squads, because it helps to alleviate some of the confusion. But it kind of makes you bigger target too. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying 1 meter away from the other person.
No, I'm not saying
they throw
like
a grenade,
this close. No. I completely understand what you mean. Like within the eyesight, like 25 meters and so on. Yes, agreed. To some extent. It's sometimes also good to be on lookout for the gunsmith parts. Like if you look at the gunsmith builds on wiki or something, because that's the resource that people mostly use for solving this sort of quests, you can really use it to make to great extent to make money. Because most of those parts are available on traders on even lower levels for barters for different items, and you can get it for fairly cheap. But since a lot of people are trying to avoid being scammed on Flea with barters, they have like exclude bartering offers, and they don't know that the barters for those items actually exist on traders. So good example of that would be like back in the day, it would be like the rotor buffer tube for the IS Val. This swipe, it's fairly common and fairly cheap, but this swipe equivalent of that to make a lot of money. Which gunsmith would that be? Like, oh, I know, P226 wooden pistol grip. Now it's a bit better, but gunsmith 9 with that. I remember finding those and selling them for almost 200k.
Oh wow, okay. So if you know which parts are needed for the quest.
If you know what is needed for gunsmith, then yeah, like you can really make a bank.
Interesting. What's your general mindset to progress faster in the game? So you've touched on some techniques and how to get started with the wipe, but in general, what's your overall mindset?
Okay, what's my mindset? Early wipe is nice and so on, like time to kill is longer, so like PvP is blast early wipe, I get it, but my mindset is like, I have a task, I'm gonna do this task, and I'm like avoiding fights, like unless my task involves PvP. So I'm really like objective driven, like I just know I have to do this. Like generally before I even go to the raid, I'm thinking, okay, what objective for this raid will be like this task, this task, this task, this task, and then like whenever I spawn, I just try to draw a mental map, like okay, how I'm gonna move around to do it as efficiently as possible and like potentially avoid as many people as possible.
Yeah, so not focus on PvP, you're not taking all the fights, you're basically quest driven.
Depends. If I hear like a huge firefight and like I might be able to third party, sometimes yes, I do get tempted, like we all do, like
right.
We like loot is nice, especially early wipe when the resources are scarce. But yeah, after a while, once you get some money, you just get on your objective.
Although arguably early in the wipe, people don't really run great gear, so like the upside isn't that
so
high.
It's like the spoils from the other players will not be as great as potential things you can even find in your stashes.
Yeah.
Also, I incorporate like, for example, if I will be running woods, I will also take into account like where the stash locations are, so I can hit a couple of them on the way. Great source of money, great source of ammo, gear. Like I think in the first 2 days I found like 2 slicks or something. So it's like, yeah, like running slick early wipe feels like kind of a waste. Like also slick, it's a nice ammo, but to be fair, I personally am not a huge fan of it, just because there is so much like high damage ammo and it doesn't protect your stomach, and once your stomach is out, it's like 150% damage. So no thanks.
So even if they have bad ammo, but it's flesh damage ammo, then they can still take you out.
You can still die fairly easy. So it's like they just aim center mass, they might hit your stomach, and then you get your armor didn't protect you at all. It's very like just 4x protection.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice for like maps like labs, but early wipe, no. People will just run buckshot and like demolish you.
They shoot you a couple of times in the stomach and everything goes black, and good night.
Good night, and good luck fixing yourself up without stim. So a lot of people run standard accounts, so they might even not carry around surgery kit. What's
your ratio of scavs to PMC runs early in the wipe? And as you progress, like how does that change?
It really depends. If I play solo, I basically spam PMC only. I will do some scav runs just to get my toes and free and body armor, because those are like free and body armor is more annoying to get out as a PMC with, because it provides almost no protection, and it's not really heavy, but with low level skills it kinda is pain to get out with. I personally like to scav, like it's fun, but like I use my scav just to generally go factory and immediately extract, because you might get lucky and get some keys and so on, get easy quick scav rep. Because yeah, I like to get my 6 scav rep as soon as possible, because you can get like some gear that was left in raid, was uninsured and so on, including the ammo, which currently like some of those ammos are banned on the traders, like they don't sell it anymore. With example 762 BP, it occasionally shows up on fans, not as much this wipe since not many people run that ammo consistently. So, and it's like when it shows up, you can be sure it will be sold out in like 5 seconds of it showing up, so you really need to get lucky.
Okay, so you don't really go out of your way to run scavs and stashes?
Don't go out of my... No. I don't really... I just do PMC runs, and if I will feel like I need money, I'll do like a woods run or something on my PMC, because time spent on my PMC levels up soft skills like strength, endurance, and things like that, and it really helps with your progression. Like early on, I will be also focusing on leveling up sniper skill. Like I generally early wipe run a lot of Mosin or like M700 and stuff, just because you will be blocked by progression on Jaeger unless you have level 3 sniper.
I'd like to touch upon the energy that it takes to run mostly PMCs, because you're saying you don't do a lot of scavs early on or throughout the wipe.
Yeah, I don't, but like it comes mainly with experience. People who are starting out, they will definitely feel more comfortable on scav, and I understand that.
It's quite frustrating, and it takes quite a bit of energy to run PMC after PMC, especially when you're dying most of them, right?
Oh yeah, like it can be quite demoralizing, and sometimes if I get like a 7 death PMC runs, like
streak,
like 7 death streak, it's like it's not fun experience. I understand that,
but it levels you up, so you're just focusing on like
even if you die, like I like to think like, okay, at least I got my vitality skill up.
So what about when you run out of gear? Does that never happen? If you're running mostly PMCs, what happens if you run out?
It used to. Back in the day, it happened to me once. First of all, Proper will send you some care package. Second of all, I lost everything. Then I will go scav, sure. And after one scav, I'm probably good to go. For example, my jam is like nighttime reserve. Like I know the map as the back of my hand. It can be completely dark. Also, the nights on reserve are not as dark as on other maps.
So you can make, half a mil, and then you're like, good to go.
Half a mil is consistent.
Yeah.
Also good. Actually, I didn't think of it before we talked about this video, but the great tip for like assessing how much money you have on your scav. You know how you can check the stash value on your PMC? When you're on a scav raid, you can do the same, but it will actually show you the amount of money you will get for your current gear and items on you to the vendors.
I did not know that. Okay.
So that's a.
It tells you how much money you have. Okay.
Yeah, like you can roughly estimate how much money you have on you, and then you can decide whether or not you want to risk and loot some more, or maybe think about going exfil.
Interesting. That's a very good tip. I've never done that.
I just noticed it someday, like when I was on my second wipe. Sometimes I use it to like assess. I'm like, is it good enough? And then I say like, okay, it's 700k. Good to go.
Good enough. Are you most of the time going solo? We kind of touched upon this a little bit, but are you mostly running solo raids, duos, squads with people that you know very well?
The early wipe, I either do duo, and I generally run consistent duo with certain person, or like with 2, or purely solo, like mix of both, like solo or duo.
So you generally avoid playing with random people you don't know, because, that's a wild card, right?
I start to do that once I'm progressed a bit, then I start to like hang around with people and like help new players and so on.
More in a sherpa fashion than in
more sherpa fashion.
Trying to help.
I try to get involved into that, but like they are currently not looking for new members, so
right.
I stick around, and people can find me there usually.
Well, hopefully this video is a way for you to transfer some of your extreme knowledge from your brain to some of these people that are going to be watching.
I mean, if anything of what I just said will be useful to anyone, I'm happy. Like people usually can hit me up when they have a question, and I'm usually able to answer it in relatively quick manner for what I'm doing generally every day. But
Well, Arkadiusz, the doctor of Tarkov, thank you so much for your time. I think this is very insightful. I hope that you guys watching this are getting some value from it. Rewatch it a couple of times. I think there's some real good tips in there. And if you have any questions, just comment below. And then I'm sure Arkadiusz can maybe answer some questions, or I can ask him, or I can answer some of those questions as well. But thanks for your time.
No problem.
All right. Have a great day.